Welcome everybody to our first podcast here at Omilia Sports. My name is Daniel Jarrett and today I have Anderson Emerole, a very experienced, I would say track and field analyst, right?
Yeah.
You have been in the business, you have been working at different international track meets as well as local ones that are
Yes.
in America.
Yes.
Anderson has done work with Flow Track,
Yeah.
as well as he has the final leg, which is really insightful, people. You need to check out the final leg. CTS Mag as well, a very reputable media entity. So you are pretty experienced in the field. But and Anderson, I would like to have you tell the audience, for those who don't know you, what song describes you, or theme rather describes who you really are.
Oh man. Okay. So a theme, and first of all, thank you. Appreciate you. Getting the chance to sit down and chat. But a song that describes me. I was thinking about it. There's a lot of songs, but Kendrick Lamar, All Right. That's like the song that kind of like
Yes.
I resonate with. It's like, it gets me in the mood. It gets me like energized, and it feels like
Sounds like you're a Kendrick Lamar fan.
Listen, I love Kendrick. I
Yes.
love Kendrick.
Oh my God! Also, for all of those persons who are anti-Kendrick,
Listen.
don't kill us. Don't kill us. Yes.
Yeah.
So, why did you choose that song though?
Well, Kendrick Lamar and that song specifically, it came out in a time, specifically in the U.S., where there was a lot of things going on, and I think the song wasn't made for it, but it was it became kind of an anthem for Black people in America, and representation, liberation, freedom, like all kinds of things like that. But also just the vibe of the song is like, it's so smooth, it's so dope, and yeah, Kendrick is like one of the best. So yeah.
I heard you mention Black people, and I've seen your work as it relates to athletes and Black athletes. But before we get there, what are some of your proudest work that you have done? The
man.
things that you really resonate with?
Oh man, there's a lot. So I've done a couple. I love history and analytics and deep diving into track and field stuff. But I've done a few, maybe two videos I really did, and two stories I really did. Like one was talking about the sprint triple at the World Championships and Olympics. So the 100, 200, 4x1.
Yes.
I looked at the history of all the athletes, going back to 1936 with Jesse Owens, all the way up to Usain Bolt and Noah Lyles, who have won 100, 200, 4x1 at World Championships or Olympics. Kind of a deep dive into that. And then one other as well is Bob Beamon, who won the gold medal in the long jump at the 1968 Olympic Games.
Yes.
I did a story on, he recently sold his gold medal, to put it up for auction, and I did kind of a deep dive story on that. So yeah, those two are maybe some of my favorite that come to mind.
Yes, those really indicate to me how passionate you are about track and field. How did this come about? How did your passion come about?
I'm gonna be honest, my passion literally starts with Usain Bolt. In 2008, I didn't know much. I was competing in track and field. I was I was 18 at the time, and I was competing, but I didn't know much about the sport. And then Usain Bolt came to New York City, which is where I'm from. He
Yes.
ran that first 100-meter world record, and I was like, whoa, what
That's
is
crazy.
this? Yeah. And then since then, I started to learn about the sport, and of course, that was the Usain Bolt era. So that's how I became so passionate about track and field.
How was that era for you? I have to put this in because Jamaicans somewhat dominated the sprints in track and field during that era.
I know.
What was the vibe in America like during that time?
It was crazy. I mean, it was cool because we were I think everyone was just Usain Bolt is crazy. He's otherworldly. But that was really Jamaica versus USA, because you had Tyson Gay, who he beat when he broke the world record first.
Yes.
And then you had, Justin Gatlin came later, and all these other guys, were going back and forth. Usain, Justin, Tyson, Asafa, Johan. Everyone was really amped. So it was very much USA versus Jamaica. But I think it was great for Jamaica to really be put on the map by Usain and of course Asafa before that, because it just created so much energy in the sport overall. And again, that's how I became a fan of track and field.
Your first time here in Jamaica?
I came last year for only 3 days last year for Champs, and I actually only came to Champs for 1 day. So this has been,
1 day. Was it the Saturday?
It was a Saturday, so I got to experience.
So you got to see that crowd from last year.
Yes.
And what did you admire the most about Jamaica that says that, you know what, I really need to visit this island?
Well, Champs is one of them because it is the biggest, arguably one of the biggest track meets in the world.
Indeed.
I've been to Olympics, I've been to World Championships. Champs is up there.
I was speaking with Justin yesterday, and Justin said that you often hear people say you haven't experienced track and field until you experience Champs. Was that the same for you?
It was. I was that's what everyone kept telling me. I can't be a track and field fan until I come to Champs. So I had no choice. So yeah, I came last year. This year, last week I came for most of the entire week. So I was able to go to Champs for multiple days. It was amazing.
Wow. What has your experience been like covering meets internationally though?
That has been really, really cool. Like you said, I've had the chance to cover locally in the U.S. and then internationally around the world, like Olympics, World Championships, and other meets as well. Diamond League meets, and it's great to be able to experience different cultures, to see how different countries they organize their track meets, how they treat their athletes, the hospitality they give, even different things like language barrier. Trying to navigate through all those things. It's really, really cool to be able to travel internationally and cover the meets.
I was reading something about you, and it said that you allow for athletes to look their best in terms of when you're conducting your interviews and all of those stuff. How important is it for athletes to have that image out there, that good-looking brand out there?
Yeah. I appreciate that. First of all, I'm very, very, I'm blessed. I'm thankful for the opportunity to be able to interview and speak with these athletes. I don't take it for granted at all.
Yes.
So I want to make sure that I put the athletes in the best light possible, because they're competing, we only see them competing on the track for 10 seconds or 20 seconds or whatever it is, depending on the race they're running.
Yes.
But they're putting a lot of work, hard work, and these athletes are really working hard. So I want to make sure that we can highlight them in the best way possible, after they're competing or, in the middle of whatever it is. I want to make sure I can do that.
Okay. Oftentimes we think that we're doing enough as journalists, as analysts. Do you think that we're lacking in any area in terms of our coverage, or whether internationally or maybe in your own space?
Yeah, maybe I feel we can, like I was saying, there's a lot that goes on with athletes outside, off the track, right?
Yes.
All the things, whether it is training or whether it is the ups and downs that they go in their life that they don't it's not showcased. And I think us being able to tell their stories, if those athletes are open to sharing, so that we can get a better picture of okay, they're amazing athletes, amazing people, but off the track, who are they as human beings? So those are some things. Yeah.
Yes, yesterday I was doing an interview with Jareem Richards from Trinidad, and he was speaking about first I asked him about the race, and he was he's happy that he came out and he got the opportunity to show up at the Grandslam event, right? Him being the only Trinidadian there. It was also on your on CTS Mag as well, that interview. And I started to ask him, how are you doing mentally? Because Jareem is always this upbeat type of athlete. He's always, very lively. But I really wanted to get some more out of him. And he said that every time he goes to a track meet, he has it in his mind that he's going to be away from his family. And he spoke about how his daughter means a lot to him, and all of those different stuff, and the love that he has for his whole family. Even shout out his daughter Dream. I think that's a play on words. Dream
and Dream.
Yeah. So
that's dope. That's what we want to be able to hear, right? And I think people like us being able to give space to the athletes to be able to share that with us, right? That's not easy, but it's important for them to be able to like feel comfortable doing that.
Yes, that's for sure. That's indeed for sure. In terms of covering overseas and locally, you've been here. I'm not sure if you covered the meet last year.
No. Last year was more of a trip, so not necessarily like coverage of the meet. Yeah.
So what's this year your first time covering a local track meet here in Jamaica, right?
Yeah.
How does that compare to the overseas experience?
Yeah, I think like here, there's obviously I feel like the energy of Jamaica in terms of the fans and the athletes and the crowd, it makes it a different experience. Because a lot of times I'm thinking solely about, all right, the athletes' performances or like, their preparation or their coaches or different things like that. But here, I feel like the experience, the crowd, the energy, the fans, that's truly part of how, how I would do meet coverage and how I'm thinking about, reporting or creating content or whatever it is about the actual meet. So that's something I do feel is distinctly different from, other meets. And again, even going back to Olympics or World Championships, I do think about energy, crowd, all that. And that translates to here in Jamaica. So just speaking to how Champs is such a big, big meet, and that's what I'm thinking about.
Oh, and you're right about that. I guess you're speaking about the fact that the crowd is just so involved as well.
Yes.
I saw you there the first time I was seeing you, and you were going across the crowd with your phone, and you were like, "Ooh!" And I was like, "Yes, this guy is really enjoying himself." You were really immersed. Is there anything that you think that could better enhance the coverage that Jamaica has in terms of covering track meets like Champs or any other track meet whatsoever? Anything that you experience that you could say, I would advise that this is done better or anything of that sort?
So I think for coverage locally, based on my experience, if people like us who are covering the meet, if we maybe have more access to be able to, whether it's like engage with the fans or like also engage with the athletes in different ways, because we want to be able to tell their stories, and I understand there's a balance where the meet has their restrictions and like we don't want to get in the way of the athletes, but if there's ways to give us a little more access, I think that'd be great, because I think we respect the organization and everything, but we still want to be able to like tell those stories as best as possible.
And I think that also gives us room to incorporate our creativity as well.
Exactly.
Because we have to be saying, okay, so we can't go here. How is it that we can be able to tell the story that is happening there? So that's indeed an edge for us. It pushes us, right? Anderson, Grandslam Track.
Yes, we are here.
Grandslam Track, the sentimental value of it here in Jamaica. Well, the first one ever being held here in Jamaica. The respect that Michael Johnson oftentimes he speaks to, that he has for Jamaica, Jamaicans being so influential as well. Your thoughts?
And then it goes to what we said before, where Jamaica is so important as part of the world of track and field that Michael Johnson was like, okay, I'm gonna have the first ever Grand Slam track meet in Kingston, Jamaica. And I think just based off, everything in terms of the rollout over the past couple months, then actually being here and seeing the athletes compete, like I've loved it, the athletes have loved it, fans have loved it. It's gotten better, day after day, and it's been really, really amazing so far.
Speaking about really, really amazing, one of the races that I really thought defined the essence of Grand Slam, and it's really fitting for something like that to happen on the first day. Oblique Seville and Kenny B.
Yep.
0.01 seconds
so
across
close,
the line, so close. So that's the type of experience that we are expecting leading up to the next staging and all of those stuff. What are the races that stood out for you?
Yeah, that was one of them. And that was one of them. I loved the women's long sprints, the 200, the 400. We saw the 400 yesterday, which was like crazy.
Salwa went crazy.
Salwa went wild. She ran like 48.6 to get the win. And then you had Gabby Thomas in second place, who also went crazy.
Tell me something. 48.9. She ran 48.9 at,
like a week ago. Yeah.
Wasn't that the fastest ever run at this time?
Yeah, that was the fastest ever run in March, because last week was still March.
Yes.
And then this 48.6 is the fastest ever run in April.
Oh my God.
It's crazy. So Salwa Nasser, that was amazing. Gabby Thomas getting second in the 400, because she won the 200 yesterday, or I'm sorry, on Friday. So her getting second in the 400, that gave her enough points to win $100,000. And she said, kind of speaking to the system of Grandslam Track, in my opinion, working, she said she heard while she was running the announcer saying $100,000. And she was like, I have to go. I have to go. So she pushed. So that was that might be my favorite race so far.
Yes, and you know, I was speaking to Akira, and Akira said the same thing. She was like, someone said, Akira, what did you think about the first thing that you thought about when you signed up for Grandslam Track? The money.
I mean, how can you not think about the money?
Yes, I know, right? Yeah, man. Yeah. So for me though, yes, that same 400 meters was one of them. Of course, the 100, but the 400 meters, Salwa, I was really expecting Salwa to go crazy. In the same way that I was expecting the Brazilian.
Paulino.
No,
from
men.
400
hurdles.
Alison Dos Santos.
Alison Dos Santos.
Yes,
oh my God.
yes.
Alison, I'm so sorry, bro. I'm so sorry, bro. Man, I'm so sorry. But I was expecting Alison to deliver as well. Man. So I really thought Salwa went crazy. But as it relates to Gabby, the mere fact that she's so loved here in Jamaica, the reception that she got from the crowd was ridiculous in the national stadium. And I'm also impressed. You spoke about the crowd and the importance of the Jamaican crowd and how the crowd is involved, right? And yesterday, I thought it was no different. I mean, the stadium wasn't as packed as Champs, but you could hear the horns and the shouts in the national stadium. Persons just cheering on athletes, whether they are Jamaicans or not. Persons were just so happy to be in that environment.
Yeah, that's why I love Jamaica, because Jamaican fans are, of course, they're going to cheer for Jamaicans, but they're just as loud for everyone else, because I think Jamaicans just love the competition. You know, they love, the people coming out to their country. And we saw when Gabby Thomas, after she got, the award ceremony, we saw everyone just crowding around her. It was crazy. It was crazy.
Yes.
So it was good. It was
Man,
really good.
It's truly an honor. Well, is there anything else you would like to say?
And we were speaking about all the athletes who've competed, or some of the athletes who've competed, and again, we appreciate y'all being able to tell your stories, being able to share with us, things not only about your races and your competitions on the track, but also off the track, your lives and things that you're going through, so that we can hopefully tell your stories in the best light. So
Anderson, it was a pleasure having you here. It's a pleasure meeting you as well, bro. And you're doing great work. I really and truly immersed myself in your work. The one that you did, and I immediately recognized that you were at Emancipation Park over across the road.
Just across the spot.
Yes, and I think you were speaking about the first day, and I just thought it was just really great. You were basically evaluating what Grandslam is, and you spoke about the fact that this is gonna be a big deal, right? And for you to say that, you who have been looking at the sport through the lens of expert, through an expert lens rather. Yeah, man.
I appreciate that.
It's really great, and thank you so much for sitting with me and speaking with me, man.
I appreciate you. I feel like we're both, doing great work out here. We gotta keep representing, keep showing up and keep, being able to tell the stories as best as possible, man.
Trust me, man. Well, that's it, guys. Anderson Emerole, Daniel Jarrett from Omilia Sports, Anderson Emerole, the final leg. Man, he has been with a lot of different places. The final legs.
Shout out to Sidious Mag. Sidious Mag is where I'm holding things down right now.
Sidious Mag, yes. The final leg and Sidious Mag. Anderson Emerole, guys. Big up.